Good morning, friends. It's Bob again, bringing you another reflection on God's forgiveness that has come to us in Jesus. And we are talking about this idea of what Jesus instituted in giving us the Lord's Supper, where he is saying he's giving us this symbol that we are to partake of often. And as we partake on it, we actually come back into contact with how big and how costly it was for God to make a way for us to be reconciled to him. Now, I don't think that every time that we sin, that we go back and we take the Lord's Supper, but instead that what we do is we routinely return to this sensory explosion of meaning of what God has done for us in Jesus dying on the cross. And so and I think often what ends up happening is we just forget. We forget about this monumental price that was paid. We forget and we kind of move as if this isn't the constant in our lives. And so therefore we return to that moment. We celebrate. We remember that Jesus gave his body for us, that he shed his blood for us. And so I'm reading to you from Matthew's version of this. And Matthew is, coming to the close of his gospel, and he is giving us the picture of the Last Supper. And it says that while they were eating, this is the Passover meal, Jesus took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it and gave it to his disciples and said, "Take and eat. This is my body." And then other gospels say, "given for you," not broken for you, but given for you. And then he took the cup, and when he had given thanks, he gave it to them, saying, "Drink from it, all of you. This is my blood of the covenant, which is poured out for many for the forgiveness of sins. I tell you, I will not drink from the fruit of the vine, this wine, from now on until the day when I drink it anew with you in my Father's kingdom." And then they sang a hymn, and then they departed for the Garden of Gethsemane. Now, what ends up happening here is that Jesus has instituted this symbol. And the symbol actually gives us an entryway, a doorway, a way of contacting and making this real. And I think that the Lord has always known about us. Obviously, he's always known everything, but he has always known about us that we have a need for forgiveness to become real, or else when it stays out there in the abstract, when it stays out there in the conceptual, it doesn't have the freeing impact. It doesn't have the cleansing, the washing, the weightlifting kind of impact that it's intended to have on us. He knows that we need forgiveness to be able to walk in reconciled relationship with him. And so he calls us back to the cross. And he calls us back to the cross and this idea that he is giving his life, that he is shedding his blood for you and I for the forgiveness of sins, and that it is very costly. And God did it because you are worth it to him. God did it because you are worth it to him. I think that's really important, that the forgiveness of sins and this being in Jesus giving his life is all about God coming after you to rescue you, because somehow in his mind, he sees worth and value in all of these human creatures that he has made, and that he wants reconciliation with us, and he wants you to walk reconciled, and forgiveness is the way that you and I get to walk reconciled. Now, we're thinking about these things and just processing this over several days just to be able to get our grip on this. Now, we're considering on Sunday morning actually doing the Lord's Supper in different ways more often than we have in the past in our normally once a month kind of a way, because I believe that God is inviting us into this sensory experience where his forgiveness becomes more real, more constant, and we live the reconciled life instead of live the reconciled theory. And so that's what I want us to think about today, is how do I interact more consistently with the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross so that I can then live the resurrected life like he does. I love you. I'm praying for you, and I'm so grateful that you joined me today. God bless you.